Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farmer, the podcast. This is your host, J.C. Young, and today's topic and discussion is this: you can't rush God's timing. So we are coming up, let's see, the day that I'm recording this podcast, it is August 16th of 2023, and August 20th, once we get there, that will be 7 years since I left the banking industry and threw my family and my wife and my kids into this financial chaos and freaking out and everything like that. So very interesting times as we look back on it. I can't believe it's already been 7 years since that time. And it's been crazy. And so today's topic, guys, I wanted to talk about, one of those big lessons that I've learned and honestly, the biggest lesson I've learned over the past 7 years. And it's relevant too, because it even came up in our community boardroom conversation where all of our customers inside of Legacy Farmer jumped on a Zoom call together. But so many people are trying to rush everything, right? We have a massive disease called impatience. And I am just as much full of that disease as everybody else. I'm not a very patient person, or at least I never used to be. And if the last 7 years has taught me anything, it's to have patience. But more importantly than that, it's to trust the process. And not just trust my process, but trust God's process. There's been so many times over the past 7 years where I thought everything was burning down. I thought I was going to fail. I thought things just weren't going to work out for me, right? And I know you listen to this podcast right now. If you're a business owner and you run an operation or even just any other business, every business owner faces times where they feel like their shit's burning down and they're going to fall apart and they're going to fail, right? And that's like, it's an extremely scary feeling. And you just keep wrapping around your mind all the bad things that are going to happen and everything like that. And then what's crazy though is something magical happens, it seems like, right? Something just crazy happens that you didn't expect. And all of a sudden you're still surviving until next year, right? And this happens in the farming industry all the time. It happens just, again, in every business and especially in my life. I can count back 4 specific times over the past 7 years when I thought I was done and God opened the next door. And so the reason I want to talk about this today, guys, is because we need to trust that process. And so I want you to imagine something. Imagine that there is a treadmill in front of you, and the treadmill is set at a speed of 3 to 4 miles an hour, and that's walking speed, right? That's walking speed. And I want you to pretend that that's God's timing in your life, right? How many of you, myself included, how many of you over the years are trying to get on that thing and you're trying to run? It's only going 3 to 4 miles an hour, but yet you're still trying to run. What is going to happen to you? Well, you're constantly going to run off the treadmill or run into the end of it, and it's going to constantly push you back, and you're just going to bang around. You're going to be off center. You're going to be all over the place, right? And how many of you are like that inside of your business, right? And I was like this too at one point, and still I go back and I still have times where I'm creeping back into that type of lifestyle even today. Because of my impatience. And it's like God has got to slap me across the face somehow and tell me to slow down. But for most of us, we spend years, and some of you decades, just running on a treadmill, trying to sprint full speed on a treadmill that's going 3 to 4 miles an hour. And the reason it's going 3 to 4 miles an hour is because God is bringing things to you at the exact right moment that you need them. But how many of us are trying to speed up God's perfect timing, right? And we just can't do it. We literally just can't do it. And the more you try to do it, the bigger mistakes that you are going to make. That's just the reality of it. You are going to make massive mistakes, and the more you don't listen, the more painful they're going to get. And I truly believe that that's God's way of like shouting at you to stop, to just be patient, to trust the process, to get up every single day and get after it, right? I'm not saying don't do anything. Obviously, we got to get up and we have to execute every single day. Andy Frisella has a great term that I heard on his podcast a while back called aggressive patience. And I totally believe in that term. And I love the just the words used there, because we want to be actively aggressive every single day and working towards our goals, understanding that we have to be patient, because anything that is built in this world that ends up being great was built over years of aggressive patience executed every single day. But so many of us, we're being aggressive, but we're missing that patience side of the equation there. And that's the same as jumping onto a treadmill that's going 3 to 4 miles an hour and you're trying to sprint, right? And so if I've learned anything over the past 7 years, it's that everything that I'm doing inside of Legacy Farmer, and we have another company now called Ag Accounting Services, and just everything I'm trying to do for the great people inside of the ag industry that we get to serve, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. We built out our entire software inside of Legacy Farmer, which has proven to be extremely valuable for our members and helping them understand and being able to use their numbers on a daily basis to drive decisions versus looking at their balance sheet or their cash flow once a year, right? With our software, we've really built it to where our members can use it on a daily basis if they need to and know exactly where they're at financially and how this decision is going to impact them in their business long term. But even with that project right there, we're 3 years and $1 million into building that software, and I feel like now we're just getting started with it. But it's taken so much time, right? And we've went through and built out our first version of it, and got all of our customers onboarded into it. And then from that time, we've added new features, but that are valuable to our customers. But we've also just been fixing things along the way, right? Because things are exposed, and this is true in every single business. You grow a team, you expand your operation and your acres, like things break, right? That's just the reality of the game that we're all playing here. So we have to learn to be patient and trust the process. If there's a mistake that happens, man, God must have put that mistake there for a reason. Maybe that mistake is maybe it's a warning sign saying, hey, you need to slow down. Like treadmill's going 3 miles an hour right now. You're starting to creep up to 6 to 7. Like you need to slow it back a little bit. Or the mistake is a big one, and that's God slapping you across the face saying, hey, dude, treadmill's going 3 miles an hour. You're trying to sprint at 10 to 11 to 12 here. Like it's not going to work. Stop. And those are the painful ones that really can honestly sink a business, right? And I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of people, they're hit with those all the time. And like the thing is, inside of the ag industry, it's very common for somebody to lose $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in 1 year. And the problem here, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Good thing is they may have equity on their balance sheet because they're a second, third, or fourth generation operation, and they can just go refinance those losses and they can farm next year. That's also a bad thing though too, because when we can just have an easy way out and the bank makes it easy for us, we don't really learn the lesson. We don't learn the lesson. We forget about it and we move on. And so I'm not saying that if you do have equity on your balance sheet and stuff like that, or you're a second, third, and fourth generation operation and you do have that equity, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be able to go refinance those losses, but make sure you take ownership over the loss. Make sure you take ownership over the lesson so that you do not forget, because it's God's way of awakening you. And it's your job to remember, awaken and remember. That's a saying that has always stuck with me that I read a while back. So my friends, at the end of the day, we got to quit trying to rush his process. We got to trust the timing of our life and the timing of when people come into our life and when opportunities come into our life, or maybe opportunities miss us, right? They slip by us or whatever. We're working hard for something and we just miss it by a foot or a couple of inches or whatever it is. There's a reason for that. And I don't know what it is. And I don't know that anybody will ever be able to describe what that is. But typically we always find out the reasons for things about 6 months to 2 years later, right? As to why we miss certain things. So at the end of the day, be patient, right? It is impossible to speed up God's timing or to rush God's timing. And the more you do it, the more pain you're going to experience. So just sit back, get up every single day, continue working hard, continue keeping after it, and just be patient and consistently move towards your goal every single day. And guess what? You will be fine. And understand and accept the fact, I'm saying this especially to you younger guys, that great things that you are wanting to build right now, they are going to take decades of consistent work. So be patient, keep after it every single day, and just be aggressively patient like we talked about earlier. So my friends, hope you found this episode valuable. Hope it brought some light into your life here a little bit and gives you some things to think about. So that concludes this episode. We will catch you on the next one.
What's up, everyone? My name is Jace Young. I'm the founder of a company called Legacy Farmer, and inside of that company, what we do is we've helped over 300 family farms simplify and streamline the entire financial side of their operation and help them learn their numbers at a deep level so that they can implement the systems and the processes to make sure that their operation lives on for generations into the future.